There is a disease so rare that most doctors will go their entire career without seeing a single case. It attacks your blood vessels, your eyes, your brain, your joints, and your skin. It can cause strokes, blindness, organ damage, and chronic pain that never fully goes away. It took years for anyone to figure out what was wrong with me. By the time they did, I'd already had 3 strokes, lost 45% of my vision in one eye, and ended up in a wheelchair permanently. The disease is called Behcet's. And this is what living with it actually looks like. Behcet's disease is a chronic autoimmune condition that causes inflammation in blood vessels throughout your entire body. It's classified as a type of vasculitis, which means your immune system attacks the walls of your own blood vessels. Healthy blood vessels are smooth and flexible. In Behcet's, the vessel walls become inflamed, swollen, and damaged. This can happen in small vessels near the skin surface, or in large vessels feeding major organs. When it hits the blood vessels in your brain, you get strokes. When it hits the vessels in your eyes, you get vision loss. When it hits vessels in your joints, you get debilitating pain and swelling. The disease doesn't pick one target and stay there. It roams. It flares. It attacks different systems at different times, with no predictable pattern. One week it might be your mouth covered in painful ulcers. The next week it's your eyes swelling with inflammation that threatens your sight. The week after that, your joints lock up so badly you can't grip a doorknob. Behcet's is sometimes called the Silk Road disease because it's most common in countries along the ancient Silk Road trade route, particularly Turkey, Iran, Japan, and parts of East Asia. In the United States and Western Europe, it's considered rare, and that rarity is exactly what makes it so dangerous. Before I was diagnosed with Behcet's, I spent years being told nothing was seriously wrong. That's the curse of rare diseases. When doctors don't recognize what they're seeing, they default to common explanations. Mouth ulcers were canker sores from stress. Joint pain was overwork or early arthritis. Fatigue was poor sleep or depression. Eye problems were treated as isolated incidents. I bounced from specialist to specialist, each one looking at their piece in isolation. The eye doctor treated the eyes. The rheumatologist looked at joints. Nobody connected the dots because Behcet's requires a doctor who has actually seen it before, and most haven't. The average time from symptom onset to diagnosis can be years. Some cases take over a decade. That's years of wrong treatments and progressive damage that could have been slowed if someone recognized the pattern. By the time a rheumatologist finally put it together for me, Behcet's had already caused the vascular damage that led to my strokes. Behcet's disease caused 3 strokes that rewired my entire life. The inflammation in my blood vessels created the conditions for clots to form in the arteries feeding my brain. 3 separate times, those clots cut off blood flow and killed brain tissue. Each stroke landed in my right hemisphere, which controls spatial awareness and motor function on the left side of my body. The result was hemispatial neglect, a condition where my brain stopped acknowledging the left side of my body exists. My left hand doesn't respond to commands. My brain filters out objects, people, and even danger on my left side. I spend 95% of my day in a wheelchair because the strokes destroyed enough motor function that walking isn't safe. 3 strokes from a disease that most people have never heard of. That's the reality of Behcet's. It doesn't just cause discomfort. It causes catastrophic damage to whatever system it decides to attack. And when it attacks the brain, the consequences are permanent. Behcet's has a particular appetite for eyes. The disease causes a condition called uveitis, inflammation inside the eye that can damage the retina, the optic nerve, and the structures that focus light. Left untreated or treated too late, Behcet's-related uveitis can cause permanent blindness. In my case, the repeated inflammation caused a cataract to form in one eye. The cataract was surgically removed, but the underlying damage from Behcet's meant my vision never fully recovered. I'm 45% blind in that eye permanently. 45% doesn't mean everything is dim. It means there are patches of my visual field that simply don't exist anymore. Parts of my world are permanently erased. Combined with the left side neglect from my strokes, my visual reality is dramatically different from what a healthy person experiences. I have to compensate constantly, turning my head, scanning deliberately, and trusting systems and habits over instinct. because my instincts are working with incomplete information. Eye involvement in Behcet's is one of the most feared complications because vision loss happens fast and is often irreversible. Regular eye exams aren't optional with this disease. Beyond the strokes and vision loss, Behcet's delivers a daily grind of symptoms most people never see. Oral ulcers are a hallmark symptom, not regular canker sores. Deep, painful ulcerations covering the inside of your mouth, tongue, and throat. Eating hurts, talking hurts. Some flares produce so many ulcers that even water is painful. Genital ulcers are another common symptom nobody talks about publicly, but they're reality for many patients. Skin lesions appear without warning. Painful red nodules or acne-like sores that don't respond to typical treatments. Joint pain and swelling can flare in any joint, anytime. My hands, knees, and ankles have all been targets. Pain ranges from a dull ache to sharp inflammation that feels like grinding glass. Then there's the fatigue, the bone-deep exhaustion of an immune system that never stops fighting. Your body is at war with itself around the clock, and the energy cost is staggering. Every symptom can flare independently or all at once with no schedule and no warning. There is no cure for Behcet's disease. Treatment focuses on suppressing the immune system to reduce inflammation and prevent flares. That means immunosuppressive drugs that make you vulnerable to infections, corticosteroids that control inflammation but bring side effects over time, biologic medications that can cost thousands per dose. The regimen is complex. Multiple pills, multiple times daily, each managing a different aspect. Miss a dose and you risk a flare. Take them consistently and you might still flare because Behcet's doesn't follow rules. The financial cost is real. Even with insurance, copays for rare disease management add up. Specialty medications require prior authorizations that insurance loves to deny. Being on SSDI means navigating disability benefits and medical costs in a system that wasn't designed to be easy. Treatment keeps Behcet's manageable. It doesn't make it gone. Living with a rare disease is isolating in a way common conditions aren't. When you have diabetes, people understand. There are massive support networks and doctors everywhere who know how to treat you. With Behcet's, you're explaining from scratch to almost everyone, including some doctors. You become your own advocate because nobody else knows enough to advocate for you. Online communities become a lifeline because they might be the only place someone understands what a Behcet's flare feels like. But those communities also show you patients who deteriorate badly, and you wonder if that's your future. The mental health impact of chronic rare disease is enormous. Depression, anxiety, and grief are constant companions. You're grieving a healthy body while fighting to maintain what's left. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Behcet's disease is real, it's serious, and it's destroying lives while most of the world doesn't even know it exists. If you have unexplained mouth ulcers that keep coming back, eye inflammation with no clear cause, joint pain that moves around your body, skin lesions that don't respond to treatment, and fatigue that sleep doesn't fix, ask your doctor about Behcet's. Demand a referral to a rheumatologist who has experience with vasculitis. Don't accept stress as a diagnosis when your body is clearly telling you something systemic is wrong. Early diagnosis doesn't cure Behcet's, but it can prevent the catastrophic damage that happens when the disease runs unchecked for years. If someone had connected my symptoms earlier, I might not have had 3 strokes. I might still be able to walk. I might still have full vision. I'll never know. But I can make sure that someone watching this video right now gets the information I didn't have, and maybe, just maybe, avoids the path I ended up on. This is rolling disaster. Behcet's disease took my mobility, half my vision, and the use of my left hand, but it didn't take my voice. If this video taught you something about a disease you'd never heard of, subscribe and share it. The more people who know about Behcet's, the faster someone else gets diagnosed before the damage becomes permanent. Drop a comment and tell me, had you ever heard of Behcet's disease before today? I'll see you in the next one.